What's this? What's the logic?
Hey!
It is Sunday night, and I'm in the process of putting everything together for Monday's video, the previous one from this, in chronological order. And I cannot stress enough how much I despise royally the sound of my own voice in a voiceover thing like that. I think this and many other things begs the question of a new topic: imposter syndrome.
This precious new cargo here. So I remember watching a video from the New York City half a couple of weeks ago. Some dude that was pulling like 6-7 minute miles, something crazy like that. And there was one comment in particular on the video that really struck me. I think I'm just gonna stop watching all running content on YouTube because these folks post crazy times that most normal runners will never achieve. Now, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know what his backstory is, where he's at with his running endeavors or what have you. But I think it really strikes a chord because it's something that a lot of new runners feel when they first get into the deep dives in order to become better runners and all that. Because even if you do get to that point, it still takes time to improve your running. And I've experienced it too. I mean, especially going through the process of running the New York City Marathon, seeing all the sights and sounds that I did, and being there as some guy that just because, you know, I raised enough money and I trained it just enough to finish in 6 hours. When you start any hobby, not just running these days, there's so much at your fingertips just thrown at you from YouTube and blogs and influencers and all that other stuff with this really fast-paced communication with this whole new lingo that you've never heard before. And when you get all that thrown at you, you feel like you've transferred into this whole new school that speaks a whole different language and you're just trying to keep up. And that of course begs the question: do I even belong here? There's a whole posse of people, whether it's the people that you see regularly that have run together for years, YouTubers that have been crossing paths throughout the years as they've built up their brands, and that accounts too for any hobby group, any friend group, just whatever. Really, you have what I like to call Scotty Small syndrome. You guys remember The Sandlot? You remember Smalls' vibes in the beginning. I didn't pick up baseball early enough. Ergo, I did not deserve to be at the field, and if I asked any stupid questions or looked like a goofus, I deserved to get the full Reddit treatment of stupid answers to stupid questions. Finally get to test this out.
From my experience, much of it the hard way, I think it has less to do with how well you know the lingo, less to do with skill levels and all that, and more just to do with the confidence that you have in yourself. Now, I'd love to sit here and tell you that it's a flick of the switch. Just change your mindset, tell yourself you can do this, and you'll do it. Well, that's honestly impossible to do, especially now in a world that feels like it gives you nothing but pain. You get all of what's wrong with the world right at your fingertips in a way that past generations could just shrug off and plead ignorance to, coupled with your career prospects, your success, all of your dreams being thrown into algorithms for someone to turn back to you and say, all right, if you don't take all of this crap and be perfect, the world gives you nothing. So we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to fit in these certain boxes that we feel allow us the privilege of our basic needs. And yes, I am thinking of Taylor Swift's speech at NYU's graduation where she talks about how we're all chameleons and then subtly name drops one of the songs at the beggar of an album she released a few months later. Check on the Swifties in your life, man. They're in a lot of pain. But it's entirely true. If you don't have the confidence you need in a new environment, that's what you default to. And you end up doing one of two very toxic things. First, you sit so far into the background that people forget about you entirely and you confirm all beliefs that you don't belong in the in crowd and you spiral out of your hobby. Or second, instead of using the opportunity to, I don't know, listen a bit, learn from the people you're meeting or learn the things that they did to get to the place that you want to be, you just end up trying to force yourself into being the center of attention to stand out and end up looking really foolish around everybody around you, forcing the square peg of the zeitgeist into the round hole that is the real you.
What are you two doing?
So, how do you fix this? How do you go from feeling like an imposter to feeling like you belong in the running community or can call yourself a runner? Honestly, I wish I knew.
That kind of anxiety isn't just something you have and then you don't have. The best thing that you can really do is just not let it take over. If you ever get caught up in these moments when you're like, oh, I gotta get this kind of shoe now or run this distance at this pace to keep up by this point, so I gotta keep up with these people, just stop. Stop what you're doing, take a step back, and zoom out. Ask yourself the big, fundamental question. Why did you start running? And when you're answering, I don't mean just so I can finish this distance in this time. I mean, why did you first put on those shoes and go on your first starting line? Was it to improve your overall health and jumpstart the plans in order to accomplish that? Is running just a scary thing for you and you wanted to prove to yourself that you could face your fears? Are the races you're completing for a specific charity and you want to have a symbiotic way of both raising money that benefits the project and benefits you? And if that's the case, why are you passionate about that project? Put all the noise aside just as best as you can. Don't even worry about on or off, just as best as you possibly can. Because ultimately the only way you can combat it is just focusing on putting one foot in front of the other to get to your next easy run or long run or sprint or whatever you're doing. And no, it's not going to magically remove everything from your head. Those feelings will still be there. But above all else, running's about consistency. And by sticking to the training plans you've built out for yourself, and by starting and finishing on your terms, even if you're slower than you want to or you walk more than you want to, you're letting your head know, I see you, I hear you, but I'm the one that's in charge.
But what if I still want to be part of a big running community to help me along? Well, if that matters to you, you should surround yourself with people that make it easy to share each other's accomplishments, encouragement, and advice. When I went to the New York City Marathon, I did the Believe in the Run shakeout the day before. Now, I didn't know what Believe in the Run was, or any of the prominent YouTubers or other runners like Kofuzi or Corey or anybody like that. None of the big names whatsoever. And I've gotten to know their channel since and have gotten a lot of value from the information provided, and definitely would recommend their channels to people. But as somebody that was just starting out, I was like the guy in the YouTube comment. I needed people who were closer to my level and could help in some of the things that I was struggling with. Only reason I went to that particular run was a guy named Christian. He's Christian Runs New York on YouTube. I think he has like 1,300 subs, average views in the hundreds. Not quite the reach of people you typically see in a big shakeout run like that. But for me, Christian's channel and Discord was the type of group that I needed to get through my first training block. Specific things I was noticing on my runs, weaknesses, that kind of thing, and provided the type of discipline that I needed to help me go. So I went to that shakeout run to meet him and have everything come full circle, just to say thank you. Because without him, I wouldn't have been able to finish the largest marathon in the world a day later. And you'll find those people eventually that'll help you along the journey. It could be from social media, it might even be just your friends and family that you already have. Just one ground rule. Don't let other people's places in their journey prevent you from progressing in yours. Sometimes confidence isn't confidence by its textbook definition. Sometimes it's simply the actions we take when we feel we have nothing to lose. And all the people with under 3-hour marathon times that you don't feel like you belong with, every single one of them has had a point in time where they're standing right where you're standing now. Your starting line is just beginning. The big question is whether you decide to stay on the road. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care of yourself.